This next game which I'm about to show you is a blitz game played online on leechess.org, where I had played one of the users on leechess. And the time format of a blitz game is such that a blitz game usually ranges between 3 to 5 minutes, as in you get 3 minutes or 5 minutes on the clock to make all your moves, with 2 seconds incremented after every move or no seconds incremented after every move, depending on the format of the blitz game. The game which I'm specifically showing right now is a blitz game where you have 5 minutes on the clock with no seconds incremented after every move. So getting back to the game, I have the black pieces and my opponent with the white pieces opens with e4, as most always do. We have e5, knight to f3, knight to c6, bishop to c4, the Italian game, bishop to c5, the Gioco Piano, and here we have c3, continuing the game with the main line of the Gioco Piano, or the classical variation of the Gioco Piano. We have knight to f6, developing a piece and preparing to castle kingside, and now white castles kingside, black castles kingside as well. And here we have d3, opening up the diagonal for the dark squared bishop. And as you can see, the bishop on c1 and the knight on f3 are eyeing the g5 square, so I play h6. Taking control of the g5 square. White does something similar by playing h3, gaining control of the g4 square, and here we have d6, opening up the diagonal for the light squared bishop. And if you look at this position, you will notice that this is completely a symmetrical position with no substantial advantage to either side on the board. After d6, white plays b4, now attacking my bishop on c5. We have bishop to b6 and now queen to b3. And with this queen to b3 move, white essentially has created a queen and bishop battery on the light square diagonals. Now, whenever you create a queen and bishop battery on any diagonal, you basically are creating a powerful control on that diagonal. In this case, the queen and bishop are having a powerful control of the light square diagonals, and that diagonal is x-raying the f7 pawn. But there are no immediate threats in this position because the f7 pawn is well defended by the rook and the king. So in this position, queen to b3 may not be that strong because it serves no purpose as such, and it does not pose any threat to black in this position. And after queen to b3, I continue the game by playing knight to e7. Here I retreat back with my knight. The reason for doing that is sometimes in chess you have to remaneuver your knight to a certain square so that you gain control of other important squares. Now in this position, you have to notice that knight to e7 is a move which makes way for the knight to come on g6, and that is essentially very important in this position because in chess, whenever you castle on any side of the board, either king side or the queen side, you have to make sure that your king has enough defenders on that side where he has castled. Usually you need to have 2 defenders, so after playing knight to e7, I will prepare to play knight to g6, and I would get 2 defenders on the king side where my king has castled, and my king's safety would not be compromised. On the other hand, if you look at the white pieces, white has castled kingside and white only has one active defender, which is the knight on f3. The knight on f3 is on a light square, and any knight on a light square will be controlling the dark squares, as you can see in this position. The white knight, which is on f3, which is a light square, is controlling the dark squares. And white only has one defender which is fighting for the dark squares, and white also has a passive defender with the bishop on c1, as the bishop on c1 is also controlling important dark squares. So after queen to b3, I play knight to e7, and after knight to e7, white plays bishop to b2. White deviates from this principle of controlling certain squares, and as you can see, the bishop is on b2, and the bishop does not have any control of any good diagonal. And if white wants to activate its bishop, white has to push those pawns and make sure that the position opens up. So after bishop to b2, I play knight to g6 as discussed. Now I have a knight on a light square and I have a knight on a dark square, and I will be gaining control of the light squares and the dark squares on the king side of the board. After knight to g6, white plays knight b to d2. White tries to bring another defender into the king side, but it is too late, as in this position I present to you the Greek gift in chess. Bishop captures on h3, sacrificing the bishop. And most of you in this position are tempted to accept this bishop. But what happens if you accept the bishop? What's more important than a bishop? A king is more important than a bishop. And after playing the move g captures on h3, which was played in the game, I play queen to d7. Queen to d7 comes with the threat of capturing the h3 pawn, and you must notice that the h3 pawn is under attack, and also the white king's defenses is compromised. White gets greedy in this position and plays king to h2, now trying to defend the h3 pawn, and here I just introduce another attacker. I play knight to f4. Now the knight and the queen are again eyeing the h3 pawn, and white introduces another defender by playing knight to g1. Now it seems like everything is defended, but here comes another masterpiece, and here I play knight to g4 with check. So first I sacrifice the bishop to open up certain lines, and now I sacrifice another knight. In this position, white should play the move king to g3. You should not be accepting this sacrifice, as it will be too dangerous. After playing the move king to g3, you could play something like bishop captures on f2 with check, and after rook captures on f2, where you sacrifice your rook, black could play knight captures on f2, and after king captures on f2, white would have this move b5, and b5 would basically win you back your piece, and you cannot play a move such as bishop captures on f7, because if you play bishop captures on f7, I would play rook captures on f7, and now the safety of the king is quite compromised. Say if you play a move like queen to d1, knight to d3 with check would win you the game, as the king is under check from the rook and the knight, and say after the king moves to e2, knight captures on b2 would just be game over. You are down too much material with the white pieces, and there is no way you would be winning this game. But in the game, this was not played. And after the move knight to g4, white got greedy again, and white captured this knight, and after h captures on g4, I played queen captures on g4, and there is no defense against queen to g2, and that would result in checkmate. White played knight d to f3 for absolutely no reason, and here I play queen to g2, and this is checkmate. So this was a game where I had sacrificed a bishop and I had sacrificed a knight to open up lines to checkmate the white king, and I really hope you enjoyed this game, and I hope you do check out the games which are mentioned in the description below. It's a game which basically covers the Greek gift in chess in a much better way, and I do hope that you look into that game as well. Thank you for watching, and I will be sharing a few more games soon.